He's got all these abandoned vehicles that are
Good morning, everyone. It is 10:01 a.m.
way in the right of way.
I am chairman of the Land Cash Subcommittee of the County Development Committee, and I call that meeting to order at this point in time. If the and it's October 18th, excuse me. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Berman,
Berman is here.
Ford,
Ford present.
Kenyon,
Here.
Nikki. Where's Nikki? I'm sorry.
Sorry, present.
Martin.
Martin present. We have minutes, draft minutes of April 21, 2020 before us. Would someone move their approval, please?
2 years old.
I would move that, sir.
Do we have a second?
Berman second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion or comment? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes, the minutes stand approved. We have one matter before us today, that being the approval request for relief from the land cash obligation. And I would ask please for Deanne's presentation.
Good morning. Just a side note, the notes from 2020, that was the last time we actually had a land cash meeting. Everything else has been held within development committee.
Can you get closer to the mic?
We can't hear you.
Closer to the mic.
Is that
please.
better?
Yes.
There we go. I was just going to say a side note, the minutes from 2020, that was the last time we actually had a land cash meeting. Everything else that we've had in between then and now has been handled within development committee. So we're doing well. In any case, before you today is a request for relief from the land cash ordinance. We're over in St. Charles Township. The schools that are involved is St. Charles School District 303, as well as the St. Charles Park District. There we go. I just want to remind the committee that the purpose of land cash is to close the gap. There's an 18-month gap between when an individual moves into our area and occupies a residence and the time that their property taxes catch up to all the services that we provide to them. So that gap is, land cash fills the gap. Within our ordinance, there is criteria if you object to the particular chapter. Item C states that the county may adjust the amount of school and or park fees if one of the following circumstances exist. In essence, there's a number of items they can object with. Number 2 says unusual and unique circumstances identified by the developer or the owner in this case, demonstrate that if the standard impact fee was to be applied, it would be unfair, unjust, or unlawful. So we're going to be looking at 4 parcels that are over in St. Charles Township. The parcel that we're most concerned with today is Parcel 1, which is outlined in the black. Parcel 2, which is directly north, Parcel 3, which is directly east, and Parcel 4, which is south. As you can see, these are all in very close proximity to the parcel that we're looking at. So the particulars for Parcel 1 is that it's 2.5 acres. It's currently zoned farming. It's a meets and bound lot, and its taxes for this past year were a little over $6,000. I've also attached to the right of the screen were the tax bills. And as you can see within that particular document, they've historically been well over the 6,000 mark. If I was to show the remaining 17 items as indicated on this tax bill, you would see just a simply slow progression showing that their taxes are currently over $6,000. So going back, we're going to compare that particular bill to the parcel 2, which is directly north. Parcel 2 is 1.8 acres, so it's slightly smaller. It's also zone farming. It's a meets and bounds lot, and their taxes for the last year were a little over $1,500. Once again, the tax bills to the right show that they've consistently been around that $1,500 mark. Parcel 3 is directly east of our parcel. It's actually a farming parcel at this point in time. It's a little over 9 acres. It does have entitlements of zoning. It's E1, but it is a meets and bound lot. Their taxes for this past year were just under $100. And as you can see to the right, it's consistently been under $100 for this particular parcel. The other item that I need to point out to you is all these parcels are currently vacant. Parcel 4 to the south, this is the only parcel that is actually within a subdivision. That means its land cash obligation had been met at the time of platting of that subdivision. It's a little over 2 acres. It has a zoning of E2A, and their taxes for that vacant parcel were $4,400. And if you compare it to the past years, that's right in line with what they have been paying in the past. So this is our familiar pie chart, of which we have several already around the room here, showing parcel 1, a little over $6,000. 3/4 of that money is going to the schools and parks. Parcel 3, the farmland, which the ordinance is really kind of designed to try and capture. You've got 3/4 of that money of the $100 going to the schools and park. So the technical staff reviewed this. The owner presented a request for relief from both the school district and the park district. The schools and the parks have provided acknowledgement of the issue and have stated that they will abide by your decision today. And that given the history of the taxes paid on this parcel, it's the opinion of the plat officer that this should be reviewed by this committee. It is the recommendation of technical staff that you approve the request for relief from land cash and waive the fees for the new single-family house on that particular parcel. So this will be on your agenda within the development committee for approval or however you see fit.
Do we have comments or questions? Mr. Shepro?
What is the amount of the land cash that would otherwise be payable if relief were not granted?
For this particular parcel, the schools and the parks combined is a little over 18,000. And I would like to note, I failed to note the owner is in the audience if you have questions of him.
Yeah, I mean, on an editorial basis, there's been a lot of taxes paid to the benefit of all of these taxing bodies for all these years that in a sense wouldn't have had to been paid had the owner been more aggressive. So that becomes the basis.
I was going to ask that too, but
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
We
you.
can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said on an editorial note,
Oh,
there have been a lot of taxes paid for a lot of years on this property that had the owner been more aggressive, wouldn't have had to have been paid. So
Right.
that to me supports the
they're
position.
terrible high.
Yeah, it supports to me the position of seeking the variance from application of the ordinance. Is there any other comments? Who? I thought somebody said.
He was
me.
paying $6,000 for all those years.
What?
He was paying $6,000 taxes all those years for it.
Yeah, when all the other properties were receiving the benefit of a more aggressive approach to the computation. So. Any other discussion,
just one.
Mr. Shepro?
Possibly somebody at staff should investigate whether some of the other properties are paying their fair share.
That's a well-considered point. I do know that to get an ag benefit, you've got to have an ag crop growing on the property, but That's a topic for another day.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Okay, there being none, and that being the only item on the agenda, could we have a motion, please, to adjourn?
You need to approve.
Deanne, you want us to vote on this during the development committee meeting?
It is on your agenda for Development Committee.
So we'll vote at the next meeting.
It doesn't need to get the approval of this committee.
No, I think
first.
we're just,
Okay.
I get it, at most, I'm going to ask for a consensus so we can move it forward to the next committee. And I see all the heads bobbing, so.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carrying. Meeting is adjourned at 10:10.